Hello, this is Rachel from Hellebore Crochet. Today I'm going to show you guys how to create the Yosemite Bralette. In this tutorial I will demonstrate the size small of the bralette. I'm currently working on writing up the pattern, so if you've watched this maybe in 2 more weeks after I post it, hopefully that pattern is completed and will be in my Etsy shop. So check my description box below and I will add that link once I have completed it. So for this tutorial, you're going to want a size 4 yarn. I used less than 2 skeins of Lion Brand's Pima cotton, and I used the colorway Inspector. So this particular yarn is 3 ounces or 85 grams, and then it's 157 yards or 144 meters. You are also going to want 2 crochet hooks. The second one is optional. So for the main hook, you're going to want a 3.5 millimeter hook. And then for the optional hook, if you would like to create a tighter bottom ribbing, you will want a 2.75 millimeter hook. You will also want some scissors and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. Once you have your materials together, we are ready to get started. To begin, take your yarn, create your slip knot, insert your hook, and now make a chain of 28. Skip the very first chain, and into the second chain, place a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, then place a single crochet into the next. Now place another 2 single crochets, 1 into each of the next 2 chains. Chain 1, skip, and then place those 3 single crochets, 1 into each of the next 3 chains. Chain 1, skip, and 3 single crochet. Continue like that until you have 2 stitches remaining. I have 2 stitches remaining, and I've just completed 3 single crochet. So I'll go ahead and chain 1, skip the second to last stitch, and then place a single crochet into your final chain. Chain 1 and turn. Place a single crochet into the first stitch, then a single crochet into that chain 1 space, then a single, a single, a single, and then into that chain 1 space, another single. So continue to place a single crochet into each stitch and into each chain 1 space all the way down the row. To begin the next row, chain 2, and then turn your work. This chain 2 is going to count as our very first double crochet. So now into the next stitch, place a double crochet. Then another double into the next stitch, and continue to place double crochets all the way down your row. Keep placing those double crochets until you have 10 stitches remaining. Into the last 10 stitches, we are going to place 10 half double crochet into the back loops only. So find the back loop of the first stitch and place your half double crochet. Then the back loop of the next and half double crochet. Continue to place those half double crochets into the back loop only until you reach the very end of your row. To begin the next row, chain 1 and turn your work. Now we will start with 10 half double crochets into the back loops only of the first 10 stitches. So there's my first one, then into the next stitch, into that back loop, my next one. Continue until you have placed 10 of these stitches. We are now ready to begin our lace stitch portion. So to start, place a double crochet into the first stitch. Now chain 2, skip 1 stitch, and then place a slip stitch into the next one. Chain 2, skip the next stitch, and place a double crochet into the next. Chain 2, skip, and then slip stitch. Chain 2, skip, and double crochet. Chain 2, skip, slip stitch. Chain 2, skip, and double crochet. Chain 2, skip, slip stitch, chain 2, skip, and then find that second chain of our double crochet from the row before and place your final double crochet. To begin the next row, we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The first 3 chains count as our double crochet, and the next 3 chains are going to count as our chain 3 space. Turn your work. Now we're going to skip all of this beginning portion, and then into this first double crochet from the prior row, we will place a double crochet. Now chain 3. Again, skip all of this portion, and into that double crochet from the prior row, place a double crochet. So chain 3, and double crochet. And chain 3. And into this last double crochet, place your final double crochet. Now place your 10 half double crochets into those back loops only. To begin the next row, chain 1, turn, and then start with your 10 half double crochet into the back loops only. Now for our lace stitch portion, begin with a double crochet. Chain 2, then find the middle chain of your chain 3 space and place a slip stitch into that chain. There we go. Then chain 2 and place a double crochet on top of the double crochet from the prior row. Chain 2, find this middle chain in your next chain 3 space and place your slip stitch. Then chain 2 and then place your double crochet. Chain 2, place that slip stitch. Chain 2 and place your double crochet. So we have made it to that chain 6 that we began the other row with. So chain 2, skip the first chain, and place your slip stitch into the second one. Then chain 2, skip the next chain, and place your double crochet into the next one. Those last 2 rows create our pattern repeat for the lace portion. So go ahead and complete those last 2 rows another 3 times, or create an additional 6 rows. Okay? So we will have the one with the chain 2s and the slip stitches, and then another one where we are doing the chain 3 and the double crochet. I have completed those additional rows. At this point, we are ready to switch to the alpine stitch portion of the bralette. At this point, I am going to switch my hook whenever I do the bottom ribbing. I'm going to use my 2.75 millimeter. And this is going to give me a tighter ribbing at the end. So this is optional. You can switch your hook if you want. So to begin the next row, we will chain 1 and turn. And now we are going to be placing single crochets into the back loops only for those first 10 stitches. So now that I have completed those 10 stitches of single crochet into the back loop only, I will switch back to my 3.5 millimeter hook for the main portion with the alpine stitch. So to begin, we will place a double crochet into the first stitch. Now into the chain 3 space, we will place 3 double crochet. Then a double crochet into that next stitch, and then into the chain 3 space, 3 double crochet. Double crochet into that next stitch, and then 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space. Then a double crochet into the next stitch, and we have made it to that chain 6. So we will place 3 double crochet into this space. Okay, and then we want to find the 3rd chain from the bottom, 1, 2, and 3, and then we will place a double crochet into that chain, and then we are going to place another double crochet into that same chain. That creates our first increase. For the next row, chain 1 and turn your work, and then place 1 single crochet into each stitch. Once you reach the last 10 stitches, place a single crochet into the back loop only of each of those stitches. To begin the next row, chain 1 and turn your work, and then place a single crochet into the back loop only for those first 10 stitches. Now we are ready for the alpine stitch. So we're going to begin this row with a front post double crochet. So yarn over and then go around the post of the stitch below the single crochet row. So you're going to be going around a double crochet, pull up your loop, and then complete your double crochet. Then into the next stitch, place a double. Now we'll place another front post double crochet. So we will not be placing it around this stitch, but the one next to it. And then a regular double crochet. So now our front post double crochet, and then a regular double crochet, front post double, and then double. So continue this until the end of the row. I have 2 stitches remaining in my row, and I just completed a regular double crochet. So I'm going to place my front post double crochet, and then into this last stitch I will place a double crochet, and then into that same stitch a half double crochet, and there is our increase. So for the next row, chain 1 and turn, and then place 1 single crochet into each stitch, and then when you reach the ribbing, be sure to switch to the single crochet into the back loop only. To begin the next row, chain 1, turn your work, and then place a single crochet into the back loop only for the first 10 stitches. For this row, we will begin the alpine stitch portion with a double crochet into the very first stitch. Now we will place our front post double crochet around the next stitch that is below your single crochet row. So it will be between these 2 posts from before. Now place a double crochet into the next stitch, and then your front post double crochet. Now a regular double, and then your front post double. So double crochet, and then front post double crochet. I have 2 stitches remaining, and I've just placed a regular half double crochet. So now I will make my front post double crochet, and then into the very final stitch I will place a double crochet and then a half double crochet. And there is our increase. For the next row, chain 1 and turn, and then place your single crochets all the way down, and then your 10 single crochets into the back loop only. For the next row, chain 1 and turn, and then begin with your 10 single crochet into the back loop only. To begin our alpine stitch portion, we will start with a front post double crochet. Then our regular double crochet, and then continue like this until the end of the row. I have 2 stitches remaining, so I will begin with my front post double crochet, then into that last stitch a double crochet, and a half double crochet. Chain 1, turn, and then place those single crochets all the way down, and those single crochets into the back loop only. Then go ahead and chain 1, turn, and place those first 10 single crochet into the back loop only. We are going to begin the next alpine stitch portion with an increase. This is an optional increase. It will create a little bit of extra room in the cup area. So to create that increase, I'm going to begin with a double crochet into the first stitch, and then into the same stitch place a second double crochet. Then the rest of the row will be completed as normal. I have 1 stitch remaining in my row. I'm going to end with our increase like we have been doing. Go ahead and chain 1, turn, single crochet down, complete your ribbing down, and then back up, and I will meet you here. I'm going to place another increase at the start of this row. So to begin, I will place a double crochet into that first stitch, and then 1 more double crochet. Now I will create a front post double crochet. Then the rest of your row will continue as normal. We will finish this row with an increase. So into my last stitch, I will place my double crochet and then my half double crochet. So again, go ahead and complete that single crochet row, and then I will meet you here at the beginning of the alpine stitch portion. I'm not going to make any more increases on this bottom area. So for this row, I will start with a double crochet into the first stitch, and then a front double crochet post stitch. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish that row. Increase at the end as we have been. Create that single crochet row going down, then do another one of the regular alpine stitch rows with that increase at the end, and then that single crochet row down again, and I will meet you after I've completed those rows. I have completed those rows. So our next row is not going to have any increasing or decreasing. Alright, so that is going to be the top of the sort of cup area, or basically the place where the strap will end up. So to begin this row, go ahead and chain 1 and turn, and then create those 10 single crochet into the back loops only for your ribbing. This row of the alpine stitch portion will start with a double crochet, and then the front post double crochet. So go ahead and keep doing your alpine stitch until you reach the end of the row. So I have one stitch remaining in this row, and I just completed a front post double crochet. So into my final stitch, I'm going to place a half double crochet. Now you can chain one, turn your work, and then place your single crochets down, do your ribbing, turn, create your ribbing, and then complete that alpine stitch on the way up. And then when you have a few stitches remaining, I'm going to meet you and show you how to begin the decreases. I have 2 stitches remaining in my row, and I just completed a front post double crochet. So to create my decrease, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now yarn over and insert your hook into the final stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Then chain 1 and turn. Okay, and then go ahead and create your single crochet row. I have completed my single crochet row, and then I've gone ahead and made those first 10 stitches of my next row as well. So we are just going to continue that alpine stitch for this row, and then when you get to the end, I'll meet you and show you again how to do that decrease. So I have 2 stitches remaining in my row. So again, to make that decrease, yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over and insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Right. Go ahead and make that single crochet row on down, complete your ribbing, down and back up. And then we are going to have decreases at the beginning of these next rows if you made the increases with me initially. Right. So we'll meet you here and show you how to do those decreases. To make the decrease, you have 2 different options. So the very first one would be to yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, and then continue with your alpine stitch pattern, which would place a front post double crochet around the next stitch and then your double crochet into the next. I'm going to do a different decrease for this spot because I like the way it looks a little bit better. So go ahead and pick whichever one you like the look of best. So for mine, I'm going to yarn over and then begin my front post double crochet like I would if I was doing just a normal alpine stitch row. Yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up my loop, then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And then now I will continue my alpine stitch like normal. So go ahead and complete the row. When you get to the end, make that typical decrease that we've been doing, and then go ahead and complete that single crochet row as well. Then I will meet you on this side for this decrease portion. Okay, so if you had done the other decrease option for the row before, go ahead and do that same decrease into those first 2 stitches for this row. If you did the one I chose, then go ahead and follow what I am about to show you. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to yarn over. Now these 2 stitches both share the same top because we combined them when we created them. However, because I want to place a post stitch, I am going to find that little post of the stitch here, that second one, and I'm going to insert my hook around it. Okay, then I'll draw out my loop, and then yarn over and draw through 2. And then now I can yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up my loop, then yarn over and draw through all 4 loops. Okay. Now I'm ready to continue my alpine stitch as normal. So then again with this row, go ahead and do your decrease at the top, then turn and do your single crochet row down, then create that ribbing, and I will meet you in this area again. Okay, so for this row, if you did the other type of decreasing, go ahead and just place a double crochet into the first stitch and then a double crochet into the second before doing your post and double for the rest of the row. If you did the one that I did, then go ahead and yarn over, find the post of this stitch here, then pull up your loop and complete that front post double crochet. Then place a double crochet into the next stitch. Alright, and then continue your alpine stitch all the way up and make that decrease at the top. Then do that single crochet row, and again I will meet you here for the next row. This next alpine stitch row is not going to have any increasing or decreasing. So to begin, I'm going to place a double crochet into that first stitch, and then my front post double crochet around the next. And then you can just continue on down your row. I have 2 stitches left in my row, and I just completed a front post double crochet. So to complete this row, I'm going to place a double crochet into the next stitch, then a half double crochet into the final stitch. Okay. So go ahead and chain 1 and do your single crochet row, and then begin that alpine stitch row, and I will meet you at the end of the next one to finish it with you. I am at the end of my row and I have 2 stitches remaining, so I just completed a double crochet. So to finish my row, I will make my front post double crochet around the next stitch, and then I will finish with a half double crochet. At this point, we are going to repeat those rows for a little while. So we need an additional 7 rows before we begin our increases again up at the top. Right, so go ahead and complete those next 7 rows by following the pattern that we have been doing, and then just make sure that you don't do any increasing or decreasing anywhere in that row. And I will meet you when I have finished those 7 rows. I have finished those additional 7 rows. Right, so our next row is going to begin the increasing up at the top again. This increasing will be completed the same way we have been doing our increases. So go ahead and do that bottom ribbing and then complete your alpine stitch up, placing both a double crochet and a half double crochet into the final stitch. And then turn and do that single crochet row on down. And then I will meet you guys there. I completed that increase row and then did my single crochet row down, and then I went ahead and also did those first 10 stitches for the ribbing. So at this point we are going to create an increase at the bottom again for the second cup. So if you skipped it on the first one, go ahead and skip it on this portion as well and simply do your regular alpine stitch here. Okay, So to create the increase, we are going to place a double crochet into the first stitch, and then into that same stitch, another double crochet. And then we can do our alpine stitch pattern all the way up. Okay, so when you get to the end of this row, go ahead and make another increase like we have been doing. Then chain one, turn, and do your single crochet row down, and then your ribbing on up, and then I will meet you to do the second increase. Okay, so I completed those rows, and I am ready for that second increasing at the bottom here. So to create this increase, I'm going to place a double crochet into the stitch, and then into that same stitch, another double crochet. Then a front post double crochet here. Okay, and we are ready to just finish off our row with our regular alpine stitch pattern. So go ahead and complete this. Make that increase at the end, and then do your single crochet row down. And then at that point I will show you what my project looks like. Here is my project so far. At this point we have another 2 increase rows to make where we place an increase at the very top. We are finished doing the increases down here, so that part will just, do our regular alpine stitch as normal. Okay, so counting the single crochet rows, that means we need to do another 4 rows where we place our increase at the top and then do our single crochet row down, and then that increase at the top, and then our single crochet row down. Okay, so once you have completed those, meet me back here and we will do the next row together. Okay, I have finished my increase rows. So at this point we are on this area for the other side. Okay, so the next row is not going to have any increasing or decreasing in it. So go ahead and do the bottom ribbing and then create the alpine stitch on up, and I'm going to finish the row with you. Okay, I've made it to the end of my row and I have 3 stitches left. I just finished a front post double crochet. So into my next stitch I will place a double crochet, then a front post double crochet, and then into my final stitch a half double crochet. Okay, go ahead and chain 1 and do that single crochet row on down, then do that bottom ribbing up, and do your alpine stitch most of the way up, and then we are ready to begin our decreasing up here at the top. So I will meet you with a few stitches left to show you again how to do that decreasing. I have 3 stitches remaining in my row, and I've just completed a regular double crochet. So I will place a front post double crochet around the next stitch, and I am ready for my decrease. So for my decrease, I will yarn over, insert my hook and draw up a loop, then yarn over and draw through 2, yarn over and insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up my loop, then yarn over and draw through all 4 loops. Now you are ready to do your single crochet row on down again. Okay, our next row is just another decrease row where we will place that decrease at the top again, the exact same way that we just did. So go ahead and complete that row and then do that single crochet row back down. I have finished those 2 rows. So at this point, we are going to be placing a decrease down at this bottom portion as well as at the top. So go ahead and do that bottom ribbing on up, and I will meet you there to do this decrease with you. I am ready for my decrease. So if you used the other decrease option that I showed before, please be sure to do that again here. And then if you used the one that I did, go ahead and follow along. So I'm going to begin by making half of this front post double crochet. And then adding in that next double crochet. Right, and at this point I will yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. And then I can continue my alpine stitch. Go ahead and complete this row, making that decrease as we have been at the top, and then create your single crochet row on down, and then do that bottom ribbing, and I will do this next decrease with you. I'm ready for that next decrease. So I'm going to yarn over and then find the post of this stitch here, right? Then complete the first half of that stitch, then yarn over, insert into that next stitch, and complete the first half of that one, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Go ahead and finish this row with that decrease at the top, and then do your single crochets on down, and I will meet you here again to complete this little spot with you. Okay, so to begin this alpine stitch row, here was our decrease we made. Right, so I'm going to begin with a front post double crochet around this stitch. Ooh. There we go. And then a double crochet into the next. Okay. So go ahead and finish this row, placing a decrease up at the top. Okay, at this point we need an additional 3 decrease rows. So that is a total of 6 more rows, counting those single crochet rows. So go ahead and create those. Single crochet row down, and then going on up, making sure to place a decrease at the top every single time for another 6 total rows. I have finished those 6 rows. So my decreases are all finished, and that is the end of the alpine stitch portion. So we are ready to do this lacy portion on the other side now. Okay. So to begin the next row, we will chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that counts as our double crochet and then our chain of 3. Okay. So go ahead and count. This would be normally our first stitch, which this double crochet or this first chain 3 counts as taking up. So then we want to skip the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then into this stitch right here, place our double crochet. Then chain 3, skip the next 3 stitches, and then place our double. Chain 3, skip 3, and then place the double. And then chain 3, skip 3, and place your double. Okay. At this point you should have 10 stitches left for your ribbing, and we are going to switch to the half double crochet into the back loop only for this portion. So for this I'm going to end up keeping my same hook, the 3.5 millimeter. So I'm done switching between my hooks. Okay. So place those half double crochets into the back loops only, down your row. Then go ahead and chain one, turn your work, and place your half double crochets into the back loops only for those first 10 stitches, and then I will meet you to show you that second row of this lace portion for the repeat. I have completed my 10 half double crochets into the back loops only. Okay. So now I will place a double crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, find the middle stitch of my chain 3, and place my slip stitch right there. Then chain 2 and place a double crochet into the double crochet. Alright, chain 2, find that middle chain and place a slip stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet. Ooh. There we go. Chain 2, place that slip stitch into the middle chain, chain 2, and then place your double crochet. So now we are at that chain 6 that we began the row with. So we will chain 2, skip the first chain into that second chain, place our slip stitch, okay, then chain 2, skip the next chain, and then into the next one, place your double. There we go. Okay. So those 2 rows are going to be what we repeat for the next little bit to finish the lacy stitch portion over here. Okay. So we need a total of 10 rows to match the other side, and we just completed 2 of those rows together. Alright, so go ahead and do the next 8 rows, and then I will meet you. I have finished all of my little lacy stitch rows. Okay, so now what we have left to do is this double crochet row and then those corset hole rows. So before we can do that, we need to add this like sneaky little row in to finish off the lace stitch portion so that we can create those double crochets. Okay, so I will show you how to do that. Okay. So for our little sneaky row, we will chain 1 and turn, and place a single crochet into the first stitch, chain 3, then place a single crochet into that double crochet stitch, chain 3, place our single into the double crochet stitch, chain 3, place our single into the double, chain 3, oops, and then place our single into that last double. Okay. Now we are going to place slip stitches down the ribbing, and we're going to find this front loop of those prior half double crochets to place our slip stitch into. Okay. So here is the first loop of our half double, our second, and then this one is considered to be the third. So right here into that second loop, that's what we want for those slip stitches. Okay. And then that last one. And now chain one and turn your work. Okay. So we want the look of this to be as close as possible to the look of this. It's not going to be identical since the stitches are a little bit different, right? But we can try to make it as close as we can. So to make it look as similar as possible, we are going to place those half double crochets into these loops here. So this little area. Okay. So those loops are actually from those half double crochets, actually from the row before, and we had gone through them. They were our back loops, or our front loops actually, and we had gone through those to place our slip stitches. So we are going to be going through those again. All right. So our first one doesn't really have this loop. It does, but it's right here-ish. Anyway, it's too difficult to try to do that. So for the very first one, you can just place your half double crochet through the slip stitch. Okay. So now I can try to find this loop here and insert my hook like that, and then place my half double crochet. Okay, so then here is the next one, like that. All right, here is my next one. Okay, so you can see that there's this bottom that we're keeping, and then we're keeping these little guys here. All right, so the one here is what we want to go through. Okay. It's okay if it's a little difficult. As you can see, I'm struggling a little, but you just need a little bit of patience and it'll be fine. Right. This guy. There. And then one more. Right here. Alright, so you should end up with 10. So let me double check that I have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so you can see from the row prior, we wanted something like this, where we have a guy going this way and a guy going down this way. So it's not the same because the shape of these isn't, as long, but it sort of gives the same appearance of those pairs coming on up like this has, and it maintains the flatness of the area. So it's as close as we're gonna get, and I think that's fine. Alright, so now we're ready to do our double crochets on up. So to do this, I like to completely skip over the single crochet that we made and go into that space that is the same space we placed the single crochet into. And then I make the double. Now into the chain 3 space, we'll place 3 double crochets. Okay, here is my single. You can go into that if you want, and I like to go in beneath it here and place that double. And then 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space. Right. So I like to go beneath this single crochet into the stitch below it because this row is supposed to be sort of invisible, and we don't want it to add any extra height to our project, so that it mirrors the other side as closely as possible. And so I just kind of pretend it's not there and go in underneath it. Right. So then our 3 double crochets into our chain 3 space. And then 3. Okay, and then into this final one, this will be the single, and this is the stitch that we placed the single into. Alright. So there is our row of double crochet. Now our next row is just a single crochet row all the way down. Okay, so chain 1, turn your work, and place a regular single crochet into every stitch. And when you get to the bottom ribbing, we are not going to be doing the ribbing anymore. We are switching to just the regular single crochet into every stitch. I have finished the single crochets on down. So we are ready to create our holes for this side. So chain 1 and turn. Place a single crochet into that first stitch. Chain 1. Skip, and then place 3 single crochets, 1 into each of the next 3 stitches, chain 1, skip, 3 single crochet, chain 1, skip, 3 single crochet, we just keep doing that pattern. And then I have my 2 stitches remaining. So I will chain 1, skip, and then place my single crochet right there. So we have finished the main body of the bralette. So now we need to place our single crochet edging up along this top edge. Let's go ahead and chain 1 here where we ended, and then place those single crochets all along this top edging. Okay, so place however many you like into these spaces. So if you want it to be tighter up at the top, you just need to place less single crochets into the area. And if you want it to be less tight, you can place more of them into those areas. So this is down to your personal preference. So I will show you what I have when I've completed that. I have completed that single crochet top edging, and then you can see that I have gone ahead and fastened off my yarn. So if you like, you can keep the yarn attached still and then just turn your work to create the next and final row, which will include the straps. I like to reconnect mine to the start and do it back this way. It just looks a little bit different at the top, and I like it better. Okay. So for the top edging, the biggest tip I can give is when you reach the section in the middle where you have the flat rows across, I suggest placing very few single crochets into that area. Okay, I didn't place very many at all, and that way it tightens in a little bit. Otherwise, there is a tendency for this area to be too big on your body. The other option, if this is too big on you when you put it on, is to add a little tie right in here. So you would just weave your yarn through right about here to the middle and here to the middle, and then you can tie right there. Okay, and then you can have that tie facing out, but you can also have the ends coming in so that you tie it in toward your body and then hide the strings if you like, and that will cinch it in. Okay, so all we have to do are those straps, and then of course create in a little tie for the corset. So for this, one, I'm going to make tie straps. So I think that would look really nice with this. Okay, so I will show you how to do that. So I have attached the yarn back at the start of my edging. Okay. So to begin, I'm going to place a single crochet right into that stitch. Okay. Now you can skip this next step if you want. I like to chain one, skip the next stitch, and then place a single into the next one. And then I use this hole as my top hole for my corset tie, because I like it when my top is able to tighten all the way at the very top. But if you're happy with the corset holes that we already have, you can just place a single crochet right there. Now I will place one more single crochet, and I am ready for the strap for the back. So to create this strap, you simply begin by chaining the length that you want the strap to be. Okay. And then you want this chain to be an odd number of chains. I have created 121 chains. Okay. So now skip the first chain, and then into that second chain, into this back bump, place a single crochet. Chain one, skip the next chain, and then place a single into the next. Chain one, skip, and single. Chain one, skip, and single. So continue that pattern all the way down until you are at the bottom of your chain. So I have made it to the bottom of my chain, and then I have one chain remaining still that I have not worked into. Okay, so I just completed my single crochet. So I will chain one, and then I'm actually going to skip that chain and then place my final single crochet for my strap into this side of the single crochet. Do it like that. There we go. Okay. And then now we can keep single crocheting along the top edging. So go ahead and do that. And then when you reach the point where you would like the front strap to go, I will meet you briefly to remind you how to do that strap. I have made it to that point where I would like to place my strap. Okay, so I'm going to chain an odd number until I have the length that I want. Then skip that first chain, place a single into the second chain, then chain one, skip and single, chain one, skip and single, back down. So go ahead and just repeat the exact process that you had used for that back strap. Okay, so then after you finish that, single crochet across, create the second front strap, single crochet over, and then create that last back strap, and I will meet you at the end of my back strap here. So I've completed my fourth and final strap, and I have just finished placing that last single crochet into the side of my single crochet. So to finish, I'm going to place a single crochet into the next stitch, then one more single, chain one, skip, and then place a single crochet into my final stitch. And then I'm going to fasten off. So this is what my work looks like with the straps. At this point, go ahead and weave in your ends, and then create your corset tie however you would like. I'm going to create a really long chain and then weave it through the back of my bralette. Here is the back of my bralette. So I've woven my tie all the way through the holes, and then I went ahead and tied the top little straps together. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!